Take us back to the beginning. What inspired you to start Hoogah? And what personal experiences shaped your mission?
I always say Hoogah is my passion project. It's my baby. My past life.
The founders or the leaders, somewhere they also feel so much lonely. Have you encountered about these challenges?
We are still a minority. If we look around, women engineering leaders, you don't see them much. So I think I struggled in that.
What do you think? Like real connections at work impact the performance metrics?
And when people see their employer as a community, they do good work. They take less sick days. They are more invested. They see work as their happy.
It is so challenging to do the people management. We have to take care of
Peer connections are most important when it comes to work. If your peer is giving you all the help that you need to be successful at your work.
Welcome to the Executive Outlook, Khushi.
Thank you.
Yeah. So in this edition, we will going to sit with Khushi. She is the founder of Hoogah. She is helping companies build real in-person connections so people can go beyond virtual check-ins, creating workplace where people can be seen, supported, and truly connected. Very, very nice initiative.
Thank you.
So, Khushi, take us back to the beginning. What inspired you to start Hoogah? And what personal experiences shaped your mission?
Oh, I always say Hoogah is my passion project. It's my baby. My past life, it has been 25 years in tech. And then 2020 happened, right? And 2020 affected different people in different ways. I lost two of my close friends to suicide. It was a difficult year, but didn't make sense to me that how in a world where there are 1.8 billion people and you cannot find that one person who you can call at 4 a.m. In the aftermath of that, we went fully remote and I felt so disconnected, so lonely with my workplace. And it's not that there were not good people. There were good people. They just didn't know how to make me feel belong. And managers were struggling nonetheless because, they were trying to figure out their. So I was looking at technology to find the solution. And when I started talking to people that, hey guys, do you feel the same way? And everyone talked about loneliness. We went onto this route to develop Hoogah and remove all the barriers. We want to create culture by design, not pool tables, not parties, not pizza, but deep dive into human connection, because that's where everything is, right? Workplace communities don't have to be family, but they can definitely be a community where everyone feels seen and belong.
Loneliness is not only there with the professionals working in an organization, but also with the leaders.
Yes, it's only at the top.
Professionals still can interact with one another and they can talk about if they have not felt good about the managers, if they have not felt someone of the colleague. But business owners or the founders or the leaders, they cannot do it. And somewhere they also feel so much lonely. All right. So they wanted
Yes.
something else. And when they are on this path, then people also, like, you can think of their, because they are growing, so other people try to compare, okay, he is doing that, she is doing that, right? And that real bond cannot happen, right? So
Yes. And there is so much more to it, right? Technology, and you might have experienced it, Isha. We are still a minority. If we look around, women engineering leaders, you don't see them much. So I think I struggled in that regard. It was we don't connect to our fellow leaders at a golf club, right? So it just feels very, very lonely. The more higher you travel, climb the ladder, the more lonely you feel. And I think that's why I feel loneliness in my bone. From outside, I say this a lot. I have a wonderful husband. I have two very active, engaging, loving kids. I have a German Shepherd dog in the home. So from outside, you might see and be like, oh, she's never lonely. She never feels. the lack of sense of belonging, but it was very much in my bone. And when I started looking deeper, I think it's because we are responsible for everyone. We are responsible for our family, we are taking care of them, we are managing their schedules, we are responsible for our team. I was managing a team of engineers, and you always have to, no matter how you're feeling inside, when you show up for them, you show up for them. You're always in a caregiving mode, and industry and workplace and corporate together have failed to take care of leaders at the top. That was another reason Hoogah was so close to my heart, because I keep saying employers, right? But we are also deep diving into communities of leaders, communities of women leaders, where you can just come and see, narrow down into community of women engineering leaders. What Hoogah does is it always asks you two very basic questions. And then on basis of that, of your shared history and your current interest, it connects you. So if we are women leaders and we say, we are women engineering leaders, but we are facing burnout, family, aging parents. And then you connect those two women because they have something in common. They can go deeper, they can create those strong bonds, and they can be just there for each other. It's not solution we are looking for. Loneliness and sense of belonging is not about let's go talk, find a solution. It is more about another human being is going through the same thing, how we can support each other. Sometimes that is enough. I think most times that is enough.
This is totally relatable because sometimes it also happen when we are out with other leaders but our interest doesn't match.
It doesn't.
So how is Hoogah tackling that situation?
Yes, that is why shared history and current interest. I'll give you an example. I'm part of this community, and it was very intentional. It's called Authentic Asian here in the United States, and it is just so easy to be seen in that community. Asian culture is more about taking care of your aging parents, right? Living with your parents and taking care of your kids. And we are just so much into our kids. And then the barriers that we see when it comes times for promotions or recognizing your talent. How are we raised? We are told, keep your head down, do the hard work, and someone will notice. And corporate is completely opposite. You have to hoot your own horn. You have to go and brag. You have to go and tell people what you have done, be visible. And that's when promotions comes in place. You have to be seen. You can't keep your head down and hope someone will notice, right? So what Hoogah does is it identifies that. What culture are you coming from? Did you both went to, say, Belmont University, Symbiosis? And then it goes and finds out what you're doing today. So say Isha and Khushi, they both are women engineering leaders, and they both have something common. They belong to the same culture. And the Hoogah will pair Isha and Khushi together. And when Isha and Khushi meet together, they know what Khushi does, what Isha does. You're meeting an engineering leader and you will instantly have something to talk about. So that's why I say it's a culture by design. It's a pairing by intention. It's not like other solutions out there where, just pick random two people and you go network, you go talk. Also with Hoogah, networking is icky, right? I mean, some people are good at it, but most people are not good at it. What happens during networking conversations is you lose half the time in those awkward questions. Who are you? What do you do? Where are you from? Like, you have to go deeper into that. So by the time the pairing is done, you already know who is Khushi, what she does, all those basic, less important questions, and then you connect.
So, Khushi, what do you think? Like real connections at work impact the performance metrics, for example, retention, productivity. So, does it have
Yes.
any impact?
So when universe sent Huga in my mind, the thought was the seed was implanted somewhere in 2020, and it took me next 4 years. It wouldn't let go. It would just stick with me. So I started talking to CHROs, chief human resource officers, VP of people, resources, etc. And everyone, human resources get a bad rap, but everyone was like, oh my God, culture is so important, Kushi, but we don't have time to take care of culture. And if you can build something to take care of culture, we are so on it. And when I talked about Hoogah and the metrics, this is coming directly from human resource officers. Attrition, when people have friends at work, right? And when people have sense of belonging at work, and when people see their employer as a community, they do good work. They take less sick days. They are more invested. They see work as their happy place. So the productivity goes high. There are lots of articles in Harvard and lots of colleges that have done research who say because of the lack of sense of belonging and loneliness is actually causing $1 billion losses in revenue. Some of the metrics that Hoogah works is your attrition rate. So what we check is your attrition rate before and your attrition rate after a couple of Hoogahs, and it consistently goes up, not up. It consistently goes low because, less people leave because there is more sense of connection. And, you don't have to be genius. Happy people, they do good work.
Mhm.
And when you belong and when you root into your employers, your community's purpose, you give more, you ask good questions. Overall, the happiness rate and the sense of belonging increases, right? Remember, like one dirty fish can destroy the pond. And that's what there is. If there is one unhappy employee in the team, you can totally see the dynamics changing and the way people deliver work changing. And that is what Hoogah is there to solve, to never let people get to a point where they are so disconnected that they just show up, do their bare minimum, and walk out. People are so miserable, in their work life. If Hoogah can, solve even 1% of it, I will call it a definition of success.
So I can totally relate to it. And one of the leaders' problem is this, that people are not happy. I mean,
Yes, right?
and it is so challenging to do the people management because we have to take care of them, but we have to make sure that they are also working, but they have a work life balance, but we have to make sure that they're enjoying the work, but we have to.
That is how I'm selling Hoogah. I'm like, let us help you. So, for example, I had this. Once worked for this leader. He's a CEO of an organization, and he wants to meet every employee. Okay, but it is hard to meet every employee, right? So when I asked him, I'm like, what if I build something which every week puts 30 minutes on the calendar and connects with you, one of your people? How do you feel about that? Like, you don't have to hire a virtual assistant to schedule the meeting. You don't have to keep a track of, who you are meeting. And we can also build that into your onboarding process. That Khushi was very recently hired, and I would love to meet Khushi, but I just don't know the logistics of it, right? So if we take that off your plate, like we put time on your calendar, we tell you everything about this employee and the icebreaker, and you go and connect. How do you feel about that? The response is always, always, oh, Khushi, that sounds so great. We'd love if you can build something like that, we will use it. And the thing is, it's not just top down, right? Peer connections are most important when it comes to work. If your peer is giving you all the help that you need to be successful at your job, and if that relationship, I'm not saying that your peers have to be your best friend, but you need to have a connection with your peer group. And when peers are happy with each other, manager's role and leader's role becomes much comforting, much comfortable, much happier, and they can focus on the right things rather than what is happening with this? Why are my teammates not happy? Why they are not connecting? So you put the onus on every team member and you take the load off the leaders to, take care of such things. I'm sure you have experienced, right? Where you organize activities and there are the same four people who always show up. And there are these two people who never show up. What we have found is when these two introvert employees or participants, when they connect peer to peer with these extrovert, they start showing up to bigger events.
Agree.
It's that first icebreaker that is so hard. And then leaders are like, oh, I do so much. I organized this thing. It took so much work. But, it's the same people who keep showing up. So we are trying to solve that problem so that they can focus on what's important and less stressful, more happy, and more present for their employees.
And to be honest, I want to add on one more thing. When you were
Mhm.
talking about the peers, that they get some good bond between them, then in that scenario, half of the work of the manager is already done. Why? They will gonna tell every single thing. They will gonna make them learn, right? They can help them understand. So half of the work is already done.
Communication and collaboration.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. That's where Hoogah's heart is. That's where Hoogah's heart is. It's a tough problem to solve, right? Human beings are complicated, and loneliness is a difficult problem to solve, especially urban loneliness. And sense of belonging is a difficult problem to solve. But this is what I tell everyone I talk to. I'm like, I have to take the first step, and we will figure it out while we go. We don't have to have all the answers, right? On the first day.
I was talking to one of the persons today, and I was saying there are two type of person. One is who do all the thorough analytics, okay, and then jump into, and most of the time they don't jump because the analytics is too much that they don't do something. And the rest of the thing, okay, I have this idea. I really think it will gonna make an impact. Let's try to do something and come
Yeah,
to version one, and then
take the first step.
yeah, see the response how it is coming, and then version 2, 3, improvement, improvement, improvement. So what kind of
Yeah.
you
Yes.
are?
I am jump into the fire kind of person. I will learn on the go. I love data and I'll wait for, data to make some decision. But whatever information I have right now, I'll try to make the best decision based on that information. And then continually, iteratively, I'll keep improving things, etc. But yes, I am the latter kind of person. Just take the first step and then learn through it. Every day, 1% better. Every week, 1% better. And that has been my process throughout in my career. Just take the job, figure it out, 1% at a time. Go find the expert in the industry. Beg them to give you their 1 hour and learn for them. Ask good questions. So I'm that kind of person. I'm impatient. I want to get started and then figure it out on the way. Yep. No analysis paralysis for me.
I'm also that kind of person. I think if I will be start doing the analysis, I will be lost. Then I will be,
Yes. Same.
there will be fear, and then if there will be a fear, then you cannot do anything. So
Today, there is a thing called internet, and it has all sorts of opinions. So if you start doing research, one person says this is right, another person says this is right, you will be just stuck in that rut. So the best thing I think in this time you can do is learn, listen to everyone, but take action and then have your own learning in the process too.
I want to ask one thing, that
Mhm.
we have Slack applications, we have employee engagements. Why, those virtual happy hours, but why these are often failing to create the real connections?
Because it is not based on who you are. The focus is just let's just do something and see if it's click. Again, human beings are complicated, and that is in my past life as a leader. I always knew who I'm talking to. So I had this engineer who was big into Star Wars. I would collect everyone who is into Star Wars and create an event based on that. And that would be successful. But if I try to put something in middle of the day, which is a virtual happy hour, some people will show and most people won't show. So my learning through that process is when you cater your event or anything that you are doing, a pizza party, a VR party, for example, to who this person is or the kind of people you're bringing to the table, it will work. For example, most times I have been the only woman in the room, right? Now, men, engineers, how do they organize events? They will go to the VR game. They will go to, say, I don't know, the go kart, all these very men things. I never felt belonged. I never wanted to go because that was not my thing. For me, I would rather sit with someone and have conversation. right? None of my leaders ever figured out why Khushi is not coming to the events. And it was very simple. Your event or whatever activity you are doing is not catered to who I am. There is always a middle ground. You can find a middle ground where, you can have a VR followed by a nice dinner or something or the like. So I think all this intention, the pool table, the pizza party, the virtual happy hour, everything is just check marks, or leaders are treating it as check marks rather than making it intentional, trying to understand what problem they are trying to solve, what are they trying to do here, who they are trying to bring. That's how you make your team, your employees, your engineers feel belong. It cannot be one size fit all. We are not all one and the same.
All right. That definitely is important.
Yeah, and the problem is, the leaders they have so much to do. They have so much to do, and on top of it, every time taking care of your people or culture, it just keeps getting at the bottom of the list, right? And that's what Hugo is trying to do. We want to help managers. We want to help leaders to feel more empowered, right? Because any leader I have talked to, they all want to take care of their people. It's just the how and how much time it takes and lack of understanding of what the people needs is where they struggle. And I think if Huga or anything like Huga can solve that for them, oh, that will be so great. I wish I had Huga back in my day when I had team of engineers. They all came. It was a diverse team. They all came from different background, and I spent a lot of time figuring out what to do, what conversations to have, how to make them feel belong, and be a better leader. I think my definition, if anyone asks me, what is your definition of a good leader? I'm like, anyone who can make people feel seen and feel heard, that's in my dictionary is a great leader. Yes.
So you were data leader before, right? So you love data, you mentioned it. And then you started Hoogah. So what is the first, technology stack that you have heard of? Because definitely when you transition your career to something building on your own, so then budgeting comes into picture, financial.
Yes.
So what is the minimal infrastructure you have started with? Platform you have chosen to.
Yes. So, I love free stuff. So the first thing I did was I started talking to other founders. And I went to Reddit and I started, going through they have lots of rooms, but I think there is this one room which is all about founders and early entrepreneurs. And I started looking at, where they are getting the money and what tech stack they want to use to do it. And I learned about Azure Founders Club. I learned about Google Cloud Founders Club, and I applied to all. And then I found I was able to get founders credit from Azure Founders Club. And we were like, we don't have to pay any money. So that's where I started. And I didn't know that they exist, So it was a little bit of legwork finding the information. So we started there. Regarding other tech stacks, so we are definitely in Azure, but whatever open source we can use, we are there. We are trying to be very frugal, because cloud cost can add up so very fast, and we will be so heavy into data, right? Every employer is employees, and there is going to be so much thing being in the employers and communities ecosystem. So we are being very careful in what we are using, how we are using, and being in Azure, it is defining lots of our tech choices.
We were building one AI, product for the customer service, and then I applied, and it was approved.
I think it's just how much time it goes, right? I started looking at what other things it offers, and then there was LinkedIn Sales Navigator, which how helpful that is. But now that you are in Azure, you are stuck in Azure, right? If there is something Azure, AWS, Google Cloud, everything is expensive. But then you are stuck with it. So I'm pretty sure by the time we are building and we are out of credit, it will take all the money from us, whatever we have saved in the beginning.
I mean, see, they also have a strategy.
Beautiful strategy, actually, because once you start using one cloud provider,
It is difficult.
it is so hard to switch. So we were able to get some credit from the Google Cloud.
And
So strategy is working.
even today, I was talking to someone in the morning, and
Hmm.
they were saying, like, he was into consulting of, data infrastructures, or where we are making mistakes and to optimize the processes. So he said, hey, we cannot go to founders and say that, hey, you have chosen the wrong infra because of the free tire. But we
I
cannot
mean,
say,
yes, it is hard.
I mean, when we are starting the things, we have to think from a perspective that when we will get bigger, how much cost we will need to have it, right? So
Yes,
that is
yes,
the planning we need to do. So I can, relate this words, what he has shared with me in the morning.
yes, yes. I mean, here is the thing. When you are a startup, right, you're only thinking about your first client and how you can help them, right? It seems like given that my 25 years in tech, it seems like I should plan for the number of users that I'm gonna see in 10 years, right? But it is so hard to see that far
Exactly.
when you are right here trying to figure things out, right? If as a
Well,
technology leader, sorry, go ahead.
please.
Yes, I was just saying, if as a technology leader, I'm like, whenever Richard will bring this up or Joe will bring this up, and I'm like, let's worry about that bridge when we will cross that bridge. Let's focus on, what's immediate, what's next. Yeah, it's kind of a deadlock.
And one of the things that is also true, definitely we know that this can create problem. But as
Yes.
you and I are both kind of a person who jump into fire and then do it, because at that point of time in the starting, the whole focus is to get more customers, how we can
Yeah.
make the product stable, how we can make
Yes.
sure
Yes.
that we're delivering value, it is making
Exactly.
impact, right? So the whole focus is there. And when
Yeah.
we get lot of customers, when we feedback, then okay, if we're getting money, then we can spend on the infra as well.
Yeah. Scaling is the most hardest part when it comes to running business, right? Like you can launch one client, you can launch 10 clients. When it's 100, when it's 1,000, can your product scale that fast? I think all founders, all entrepreneurs are still trying to figure that out. Yeah. Like scaling is not on top of my mind right now, for sure. I'm just focusing on one client at a time and then moving on to next. But yeah, yeah. I mean, the way cloud prices are increasing, I feel like putting servers in my bedroom, put all the data in there so that I can save
That
some.
I would say, because if it is failed, what if we need to have another backup, we need to have another backup, and that is
Yeah.
very difficult process.
Yes. But I'm just thinking having three data centers, is that less cost saving? Does that save me more money than, having backups and backups and backups on cards? There are tech leaders here who are actually moving from on cloud to on prem now because it is just so hard to keep tab of on cloud cost.
This I have heard this.
This is me. Oh, I will send you. There is a book out there. I'll send you that book. I was very surprised by myself. What they're arguing is that all the cloud providers are charging insane amount of money right now. And it's not a very popular topic either. Like many people start rolling their eyes. But hey, people who are watching their cost, I'm sure it will catch up in a year or two. We will go the full circle, on-prem to on-cloud to on-prem.
The technology is evolving,
Yes,
and
yes, yes.
right now everywhere is AI, and then it will be back.
Funny thing you mentioned that I was actually in this investor meeting, and he says, "So, in an era of AI, you are building something for human." He was very intrigued. I'm like, "Why are you not on the AI bot? It's just a tool for us to solve this problem. Tech doesn't matter." But he was very intrigued that, because everyone he's meeting is like they have AI in bold on their every slide. So what are you doing? In a very good way. He said it's a breath of fresh air to, not look at another
AI.
AI startup.
All right, Khushi, that was all I wanted to ask you today.
Yeah, this is great.
Thank you so much. Your mission to create this real human connection is very powerful and deeply needed. for sure.
Thank you, Isha, for, giving me a platform to share my story.